What's up, y'all? We have another Breaking Bad boxing preview and prediction. Before we get started, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know your predictions for this fight below. We have the weekend's biggest fight between Jaron Ennis finally making his Super Welterweight division versus Uisma Lima. His first test against Uisma Lima, in my opinion, is no joke. The Agnolian, 32 years old, southpaw, 14 wins, 1 loss. Of those 14 wins, 10 wins coming by way of knockout. You have Jaron Ennis, 34 wins, 30 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Only 28 years old, orthodox fighter, hailing by way of Philadelphia. Let's jump into the X's and O's. Let's jump into the tape, y'all. Uisma Lima versus Ruben Angulo. Against Ruben Angulo in round 1 here, he started off on the front foot. He was using his jab more of a blinder and a rangefinder as compared to more of a hammer and a weapon. The rear uppercut had quite a bit of success in this case. He was landing the 2 at will, both off the jab and to the body. In this case, this was a complete wash fight. Round 1 knockout, rear uppercut for the finish. I really like Uisma Lima in terms of his body conditioning and his shape. He just seems like a sturdy motherfucker. Excuse my language. Lima versus Lester Espino. I really like the jab variation we saw in Lima in this fight because we saw a few more rounds in this case here. He used it as a blinder, used it as a rangefinder, and used it as an actual weapon itself, as a hammer, as a piston. Good straight left to the body. Really good straight left just in general when he fights. He has a responsible guard. I like his in and outs. I like that he's not a bouncing in and out fighter. He can cut an angle while coming in, and he cuts an angle while cutting out, at least early on in fights. He was winning the foot battle offensively. He was exiting his slight angles and exiting with responsibility here. Nice tight high guard. The straight left and rear uppercut are clearly his money punches, clearly his best weapons, as we saw in this fight, and we're going to see in later fights too as well. Frankly, outside of loading up on 1 uppercut on round 2, this was a flawless performance. He looked incredible in this performance. He took 0 damage, 0 real shots. Rear uppercut, left hook, melted old boy with left hands to the body. Just absolutely looked incredible. Now, the McKenna fight. You have to note when it comes to fighting Aaron McKenna in this case that Lima moved up a weight class at 160 pounds. When he got in the ring with McKenna, it was evident. I cannot believe how much bigger Aaron McKenna looked in him in this fight. And he also took the fight on 5 days' notice, I believe, short notice. Rounds 1 through 3, though, I have to say, Lima looked really good. He was punching with McKenna. He had a great moments in the first round between 2 minutes and 15 seconds and 2 minutes. You saw a lot of flash of the offense that he puts out there. He's very accurate with the left hand, especially in the first 4 rounds. He landed at all ranges. He was clipping McKenna short on the inside, too. I thought his inside boxing in this case was great. He continuously threw punches the whole fight. Even on short notice, he was just punching everything he could. The guard, the body, the head, whether it was on the inside range, the mid-range, or from the far range itself. I really like Lima's first layer of defense. He's really good at defending the first shot and 1-2 combinations that are only 2 shots. It's really the third and the fourth layer and layers after that he has issues with. It's when, of course, the angles come off of those 2 shots, or the 3rd, 4th, and 5th shot comes off of that. That's really where his defense starts to fail him. In this case, it could have been an issue due to his lack of cardio because of how short notice of a fight that he took. But Lima still held pretty good shape for the whole 10 rounds. Great straight left to the body that Lima had in here. His combinations on the inside were popping. He held McKenna against the ropes, but he wasn't getting off any shots, and he was getting tagged while he was entering against McKenna. And as we know with Boots, he can fight off the back foot. He can fight at all variation that we're going to talk about Boots. But this was an issue against McKenna, and it's definitely going to be an issue against Boots, is the fact that he can get tagged while walking in irresponsibly. In this fight, Lima really lacked a jab. It was all the rear hand. He was really looking for the rear hand, all the power shots from the rear uppercut to the rear left. Again, the straight left to the body was landing early and often on McKenna. And even as he started to get a little bit tired, it seemed to land continuously too. Honestly, after round 3, though, all the momentum and all the movement really started to slow here for Lima, and McKenna really put on a hellacious pace. You can tell that he really felt the inside boxing, the inside body work, and really just not having a full camp to keep up. The long shots of the body from McKenna were causing a lot of issues for Lima. Lima was defensively void completely almost around 6. The size of McKenna, the short notice, the weight bullying nature of McKenna, how he was hanging on his head, hanging on his shoulders, making Lima work a lot harder than he wanted to. In round 10, though, I do have to say, Lima showed a ballsy and gutsy performance. Never stopped throwing single shots. He went out there for the kill, looking for it, even though he didn't have much to throw on it. And he caught McKenna quite a few times in round 10. I was really impressed with this performance, even in a losing effort. The right hand from McKenna in round 9, by the way, with 25 seconds left, the fact that Lima didn't go down just shows how strong Lima's legs are, how good his physical conditioning and shape are, and quite frankly, how good of a chin he has. So Lima versus Harto Maitavasian. Lima committed early with a punishing jab. As compared to using it as a rangefinder or a blinder, he was actually using it to punish him. He continuously putting Caro on the ropes, cutting the angles. When he had him on the ropes, he was cutting angles, sweeping him left to right, ripping up high and to the body too as well. Continuously force Haro into that corner. Great body work all the time. His hooks were traditional and tight. As compared to being sweeping in motion or shovel in motion, they were really tight guard hooks. They're traditional in the sense of how you saw boxers in the 50s and the 60s throw them. Look, the left hook to the rear uppercut and the rear uppercut to the left hook were just absolutely money. He kept mixing it up on the inside. His cardio was insane this fight. He threw a hell of a lot of combination, a lot of punches, and he didn't stop his pace of pressure at one moment. He didn't have a lot of resistance from Haro, granted, but he was walking him down and just throwing, trying to get him out of there. Landing straight shots downstairs, and quite frankly, I mean, it was a doctor stoppage. Haro looked a little bit defeated in his heart that he was, that the doctor stopped it, or the corner stopped it, I'm sorry, but it was only a matter of time before Lima really got him out of there. So what do I like about Lima and what do I dislike about Lima? What I like about Lima is I like his inside work. I think he has great inside work. I think at a full camp, he has great pace, pressure, and cardio. Forward style marauder. He's tough as nails, good shape, good legs too as well. He keeps his base and his balance. Doesn't overcommit on shots. Has a great rear uppercut. He uses his jab in multiple variations. He has good angles both offensively and defensively. And I think he's pretty defensively responsible, especially when he has a full gas tank. The McKenna fight, a little bit easier to write it off, in my opinion. Not the whole fight in general, but the fact that his gas tank was sapped for it being on 5 days notice. So I want to give him a little bit of credit there. What do I dislike about him here? I think he is very hittable. He's so willing to exchange. He can punch with you, and with him punching with you, he will get caught himself. I don't think he has any back foot fighting whatsoever, as we saw in the McKenna fight. Anytime he was forced to go backwards, he didn't have the dexterity and the combinations to throw out the back foot fighting. I think he can get his back caught against the ropes. So when he gets his back caught against the ropes, it leaves his body open and susceptible to shots. So let's talk about the tape on Boots. Boots versus Stanionis. What a pleasure of this fight to watch here. I just think it's a good similar style too as well, because Stanionis is a forward marauding style fighter similar to Lima here, even though Lima is going to be the far bigger fighter and in my opinion, a bigger puncher too as well. The kinetic chain punching from Boots is S tier, man. The way he moves his motions from left to right and never has any load up on him, it's absolutely beautiful. He rolls with shots, fights in multiple variations. He goes from the Philly shell to the high guard to the hands down to the showboating style, and he switches it all in between. You just never see a fighter fight with so many different variations and styles like you see with Boots here. On the inside, he was giving Stanionis a lot of issues with the hooks, but Stanionis also was having his own combination hook success too as well. In the last 30 seconds of round 3, Stanionis actually had a lot of success. But outside of these moments here for you, man, it was a masterclass performance by Boots. His hands are fast. His angles are absolutely incredible. His shot variation to the body, man, is just absolutely incredible. Shovel hook, sweeping shots, straight shots, traditional hooks to the body. Uppercut on the inside is absolutely insane. His catch and shoot, man. I love Boots' catch and shoot. I think it's one of the most underrated aspects of his game, and I wish he fought more of a purely defensive catch and shoot style. And a lot of people said it gave him trouble against David Avanesian, and we're going to talk about that, but I couldn't disagree more. His patient pressure in this fight, man, he just slowly stalks Stanionis. He fought on all levels, going backwards, going forward, and cutting during angles. Boots has one thing that I think is absolutely unique about him here is you see people when they throw double shots to the body, they have to be planted or they have to be solid to the base of the ground when they throw it. Boots can do it while moving. He almost is floating in the air like a vampire throwing these double shots to the body. Very impressive here. So let's talk about Boots versus Avanesian here. Long jab variation, both high-low. Never allowed Avanesian to cover really any ground. People were talking online like this man got caught 1,000 times versus Avanesian. And I don't think really that many of these shots caught Boots clean. Throws double punch to the body while moving and floating, like I stated. He mixes up his boxing style, like I stated before. I must have been mixing up my notes. My apologies, y'all. He had an ability to wrap around David's elbows and catch his body, man. The way he was catching him underneath his elbows and wrapping around his elbows was incredible. He was swiping down David's guards and creating openings. Shout out to my boy Adam, the analyst. He calls it the casino hook, uses it as a swipe and catches openings with it. David Benavidez is really good at it, and it's something that I saw Boots do really well in this fight here. He was using elbow frames to cut angles off of those elbow frames, and also off of those elbow frames, he was landing body shots too. He had moments where he was taking too many pictures with David Avanesian, and that's when he would get caught. He would take pictures of his good work, stop there, stare, not get his head off a line, and just take something. There are a few moments here where Boots would overswing and lose his balance, but that was few and far in between. You saw that in round 5 where he did overswing and lose his balance. That's where Avanesian stuck his tongue out and started talking shit. What I love, though, is the killer instincts, man. The long left that he caught David Avanesian in round 5 with off of the ropes that dropped him, and the killer instinct he showed after that, different volume and different pressure, wasn't just headhunting, was punching at different levels to stop the fight. I was just absolutely incredibly impressed with Boots in this performance. I've seen all of Boots' fights before this, or, all of Boots' fights over the last 5 or 6 years before this, but this was nice to go and rewatch the fight without seeing it live and having any emotion in the moment. Boots' second fight versus Jaron. He had amazing sweeping shots, both up high and to the body. I felt like the sweeping shots from Jaron coming back were the things that were giving Boots issues in this case. The jankiness of Jaron in general, I think, gave Boots a lot of issues. But Jaron's a hard style. And one thing to note, too, is I don't think Boots wanted to get up for this fight. I don't think he really seemed motivated. He never seemed to once really go through the gears. So I don't really hold this performance too high over Boots' head. He kept catching and shooting Jaron's attacks here. The overhand right and the counter uppercut was absolutely incredible off the catch and shoot. In round 5, when he hurt and made Jaron take a knee here, it started off with the catch and shoot to the overhand right. Boot loves to work out of the clinch. He doesn't stay there and hold on the clinch. He'll use elbow frames, like I stated, nice angles off the clinches, punches out of the clinch. Early and often body work here. Jaron's not your typical bread and butter fighter that's going to stand there with a 1-2 or a sweeping shot and try to fight you behind that base. He's going to move in different weird angles. And Boots did a great job from the first fight. And instead of trying to follow Jaron, he started intercepting his angles as Jaron was cutting. So I thought Jaron won round 12. He did get caught that kind of stiffened his leg here with a few hook succession and combination that landed clean. But outside of this, man, it was a great performance here by Boots. We saw all the different mixes of styles, a good jab. I thought we saw some fight over fight improvement as well, too, because I thought his pace looked incredible here. I thought instead of that purely patient style here, we saw a little bit more pace and pressure, and I thought his inside fighting looked great this fight. So I think it's easier to start off what I dislike about Boots than it is to talk about what I like about Boots, because there's just so much to like about Boots. What do I dislike about him? I think he can get caught with sweeping shots. I think he can get caught taking pictures and staring too long. I think he has moments of switching between variations of styles to where he has so much success while he's catching and shooting, and then he'll switch to a high guard shell that will allow him to get his guard broken at times or get his body slapped around. Besides that, though, man, there's really not much I dislike about Boots. His angles are incredible. His hands are fast. He has power in his hands. He has great volume, great pace, great pressure, great ring IQ, great ring control. Dude, he's an A-plus fighter. He's a world-class elite fighter. So the question is not as if Boots win. I mean, the question could be how Boots wins in this case here. I love the over, guys. The bet that I'll be placing my money on in this case here will be the over 7.5 rounds. I don't think they're crediting Lima enough here. I'm surprised this line isn't at 9.5, quite frankly. Lima is sturdy as hell, going to be a way bigger opponent than Boots has ever had. Boots has said it himself in interviews that he's not going to rush the finish. And if it comes, it comes. I'd love to hear that from him. Granted, Lima is going to be a forward marauding style that's going to walk into traps and walk into angles and get countered by Boots all night. I think Lima has a lot more grit and toughness and a lot more skill than people are giving him credit for, especially the bookies. So in this case here, you're giving me a 7.5 line. I'm going to take that all freaking day, guys. Give me Boots versus Lima over 7.5. I love that line. I love that line. I love that line. I don't want to call a round prop, and I don't want to call a decision in this case because Lima could be tough enough to take it all 12, but Boots could go through the gears 7 through 12 and get a stoppage there. If I was going to take Boots by knockout in a round stoppage prop, I would take it 7 through 12. But the bet that I am giving you guys is over 7.5 rounds, Boots versus Lima. Go lock it in before the line moves. I wouldn't doubt by fight time if that's moved to 8.5. With that being said, y'all, as always, it's love, it's peace, it's chicken grease. See y'all next time.